Good morning, everyone. Today I thought, as I'm coming down for one of my morning checks, that I'd give you a little bit of a look at exactly what we've got going on here at Chic Livestock. So it's 7:30, middle of February, and it's actually wonderful. It's starting to get light out earlier. So for anyone who lives in the Great White North here, you'll understand how exciting that can be. All right, I'm going to flip my camera around. You'll be seeing basically what we got going on here. It's a little bit of a chaotic mess, but that's okay. We got our wonderful litter of Pyrenees pups. As I've said before, it's not fancy, it's not pretty, but we've got a system that's working for us. So I got lots of yellows that are right ready to lamb here. What we've been doing is at nighttime we lock all of the flock into what we call the breezeway here. That way there's no chance that they're going to go and drop their lambs out in the main barnyard. And then, generally about this time of day, I will let them out, let them go get to the feed bunk again. Now, this ewe that's walking away from me, I actually kind of expected that she might have lambed. Obviously not yet, but she is very, very close. I'm expecting she'll drop her lamb by the end of the day. I think I've shown this in one of my other videos, just doing my walkthroughs. That ewe there is also really, really close. That one right there. Had a couple of ewes drop lambs yesterday. That was actually really kick-starting my lambing season. There's Ginger the llama. She looks grumpy, but she's honestly not that bad. No lambs in here. I do think I'm going to go and take a look in the barn, though, because I've actually opened things up so that the ewes, if they want to drop their lambs right in the barn, they can do that. Somebody's playing peekaboo. That ewe right there is another one that's very, very close to lambing. Actually, we got two side by side. I expect those ewes will be lambed out before the end of the day. So we've come in here. I'm just going to turn my light on. So right here we have a set of twins that were born yesterday morning. Surprisingly, my token border Leicesters dropped their lambs first. Right here we have Tumbleweed, a sad little bottle lamb that is weaned and isn't really thrilled with that. We've been making some improvements to the barn here. We've got cabinets up now and lots more hooks. So usually what I'll be having here is my jugs. I can expand out to have quite a few more. This is just what I've got set up to start with. And then over here, we just kind of call this the communal pen. We can fit up to 4 ewes and lambs in here. Or we can divide it down into individual jugs, depending on what I need at the time. Then, remember what I said, everything is kind of making do with what you got. I'll just take this down so you can see a little bit better. Should have turned the lights on for you, but this is what we call the pairs barn. There we go, got a little bit more light. So it's really well bedded, And right now, the yos can come in here and drop their lambs if they wanted to. Once we start getting more lambs on the ground, then we'll stop the main flock from being able to come in here. And we would just put the yos with lambs that are, you know, maybe basically once they come out of the lambing jugs, we would then put them into here, and we'll just use that up as a hardening up pen, so to speak. All right, I will come back and make sure everybody's doing okay in here. This little guy was born last night about 8 o'clock. As I've mentioned in some of my previous videos, we feed right around dusk, and that helps to ensure that our yos are dropping lambs during the daytime, but more specifically not dropping lambs between midnight and 6 a.m. Traditionally, when we keep that schedule, we would only, out of our whole flock, maybe have 2 yos that would lamb in that 6-hour period between midnight and 6. I'm just gonna watch that. I love seeing these pups interact with the sheep. As you can see, the sheep have no fear of them. If the puppies get rambunctious, the yos will kind of tune on them a bit. We take a lot of pride in the Pyrenees that we raise. As is quite obvious here, these little guys are just so used to being in with sheep. They've been in with this flock since they were 3 weeks old, actually. We started them out in just one of the warm boxes left over from last lambing season, and then go from there. This is Maggie. Maggie is actually a half-sister to the little guy over there. And this is Rascal. Now, Rascal isn't actually one of our pups that we've raised. She was someone that we brought in. She is a Pyrenees Cross Kangal. For her, she's got some habits that I'm not too thrilled with. Sometimes, actually, if you can sort of see here, I do have a chain that she does get tied up with every day for a while, just to make sure that she's settling down. She's not getting too playful with the sheep. Hi, Megs. Hello. It's one of those things where it can be tough. I generally like to raise my own guardian dogs. That way I know the bloodlines. I know what their, oh my goodness. You know what their genetics are, what I can expect out of them. But we wanted a little bit of new blood. We wanted to try a Kangal. So we brought her in. And she's really not a bad pup. Oh, see a beautiful sunrise over there. But just a few habits that we're having to curb. Easy, girls. No. And they're saying, all right, it's time to go eat. And they're off. Just take a look, make sure they're not missing anyone in here. There's a set of twins that were dropped actually last month. They're a few weeks old now. And I now have a couple of token goats. The two in the front there are actually going to be having kids here. Probably, well, the brown one's probably going to be dropping hers in the next few weeks. The white one isn't due till first bit of March. So something that we've done that's a little bit different this year is we actually found these boxes on Facebook, and they came from a John Deere dealership actually that had these came with the parts. And so we drove to the city and picked them up, and they're turning into really nice. Oh. Now this is what I like to catch. I like being down here, especially when things start moving around. The puppies are interacting. I really can't time this perfectly, but I can shut down a lot of any playful behavior that comes up. Thankfully, when we are dropping lambs, the yos are pretty good at teaching these pups not to mess with the newborns. But as I was saying about these boxes, we were able to pick them up, and at the moment we're just kind of got them turned into the goat boxes so that they can go get out of the way, or the lambs that were born earlier. We do have a heat light that we can turn on in the box there. If it's really cold, which it was back in December, and we've kind of been bouncing up and down with the temperatures, but I can stuff wool into the top part of the pallet there. And the neat thing about these boxes is with the skids on the top of them now, we can actually use our skid steer to lift them up out of the manure. We haven't done so yet, but once or before we've got a lot of the lambs really hitting the ground, we'll do that to make sure that they're pulled up and got lots of room to work with. And I just love looking at sunrises. All right, I know I kind of bounced all over the place, but that kind of gives you a bit of a look at what we're doing here in the mornings. You did miss the early morning check. I got my flashlight out and just walked through the flock. We've just started this, getting kind of back in the habit of doing these morning checks. The yos were due a couple of days ago, so they're running a little bit behind. But we do these checks. The sheep get really, really used to us coming through, walking through the flock. Honestly, within the next couple of days, they won't even be stirring as we walk through. They'll just be laying down, chilling. And if anybody drops a lamb, we're able to usher them into the barns, get them into their jugs, and go from there. So, hope you enjoyed today's walkthrough. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see of activities around the farm, let me know, drop a comment. And of course, like and subscribe to our channel. Happy lambing!